Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the Technical Trader. And it is Tuesday, January the 10th, 2012. And, we were going to go over some boxer shorts today, but I don't see any reason for that yet because the market trend is still strong to the upside. And until we roll over, we have time. And right now, with so many new stocks thrusting and breaking out, we should take a look at some of them. Key breakout today on IDIX, Idenix, which yesterday gapped up big time today, exploded again from 921 to 1214, closing at 12, up 234, 24%, 8.3 million shares. You can see how the pattern has looked, and the stock is, and how it's been trending of late. If we change the angle of the sun a little bit to have it look more like that, you can see that we've reached the top of a long-term rising year and a half channel or so. But on the order of things in a weekly chart, you'll see that this is a key breakout here across multi-year, 5-year resistance. And we can now move the stock perhaps into the 20s. But first, let's look at the short-term target up around 15. ACHN as well, up 22.5% today, jumping up 218 to 1190, very similar action. You can see how it reached right to the top of the channel over the last 3 years. And although the key today's action was that it broke through the July highs with a thrust and a breakaway gap on big volume, this stock appears to be just in the process of breaking out here. Also looking at a long-term chart, going back several years, you'll see that the all-time high came when the stock was trading post-IPO in early 07 up around the 20 range. And that could be a target for us. At this point, you can see how the way I've drawn this line here at the top of this channel indicates the possibility we may be at short-term resistance, but that if we do blow through here, we could see something in the low to mid-20s. Let's just say, for starters, it tested the high around 20. That's a long way from here, though, so let's see what we get short-term. I expect some follow-through. VOXX. With the big thrust, let's look at a weekly chart on this one. The key that this line here was broken through with a thrust and the declining tops line may have been taken out as well today. So, and more importantly is on the daily chart, that was closed above, I believe. No, actually closed below. Let me change my remarks on this. We thrusted up through it and closed down at the lower end of the range, or should I say the bottom half of the range, which is never good. But I did want to point out the breakout and the thrust through this resistance zone. Let's see if it can follow through, or whether it's going to be a one-day spike. Big day for IPGP, which exploded midday and ran from 39 up to 40, nearly 48, right to the declining tops line and backed up just a tad. But there is resistance here. If we get through this zone, look for a move up into the mid, possibly high 50s. But for starters, let's see if we get a pullback or retest or consolidation in this zone where resistance is. Nevertheless, a big move today, up 20% on 3 million shares. Cirrus Logic up 267 or 16% on 8.8 million. That was a big move, and it broke across this key resistance line on the base, which breaks the base out and calls for a move up into the 22 and a half zone there about. That's my short-term target. CIE, Cirrus Logic. It's Cobalt Energy, as you know, had a monster move today after it was upgraded. The stock jumped all the way to 19 and backed up to 1805. Nevertheless, up 219 or 14%, 5.7 million shares. And at this point, I think it's extended. I'm looking for more of a pullback retest, but I love the stock right here still. Life Technologies with a fantastic thrust today, taking out this entire base pattern and moving up to test resistance at the gap, actually into the gap before backing off the session highs, about a $1.20, still up 352 or 8.25% on 9 million shares. So at this point, I would look to see what it does in this zone, whether it consolidates or not, but eventually we can see something up around 52, 54. Call, C-A-L-L, I want to point out that the base pattern here was broken out last week or 2 weeks ago and then flagged for a couple of weeks. Today it popped again, 96 cents or 7% on 500,000 shares. That's good volume for that stock. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised. And then I'm actually looking for a follow-through that takes it into the high teens. JetBlue, JBLU, is coming across the declining tops line and today broke out of a similar pennant pattern after breaking the base pattern last month. This looks like it can continue higher. And at this point, I'd look for a move up towards about the 6.25 6.5 range before it runs into resistance, with a secondary target up around 7, 7.25. PCYC had a breakout today. We issued a buy signal. You can see that the flag or pennant here of the last couple of weeks was broken with a thrust. It was up 5.6% or 84%. Nearly a million traded today. That's the best volume in a couple of weeks. And it looks like this one may have made a significant move today. If you take a look at the longer term pattern, going back 3.5 years, this breakout could result in a substantial move up. Look for this one to thrust into the high teens. LQDT had a big move today. You can see the long-term channel is a beauty here, but it's at the top of the channel. Nevertheless, on the short-term trend, this wedge of the last 5-6 weeks was broken today with a pop to 205 or 5.37%. As volume increased to 428,000. Now I'd look for a test of this line around 42.5 short-term. And if we get through that, possibly a spike up into the high 40s. Gilead Sciences, another biotech, they're having a good time of it. It's exploded from the 37 to the 45 zone just in the last 3 weeks. Today up another $1.52 at 3.5%. 15 million shares traded today and broken out across this line. That's a key break. On the long-term chart, you'll see that the major declining top line as well was taken out right there. And we may see some additional upside up towards 49.50. BroadVision continues its assault on resistance with an explosive move from 780 to 1540, nearly doubling in just the last week. This may be extended short term, but momentum is tremendous. And at this point, we could see a move up into this 17-18 zone. SPPI, a swing trade of ours, continued to move up today. On the daily basis, you'll see that it broke out yesterday, followed through a little bit today, up 37 cents, 2.4%. And it looks like this one's going to continue. I would look for a move up towards 19.5, 20. And lastly today, GLNG with more new all-time highs today, up another $1.02 or 2.2% as it continues to trend. And I'm looking for a move towards 50, 52 on that one. And there's some tremendous ideas with some great looking charts, you must agree. Let's see what the market does tomorrow. If we do get a rollover, I'll start to look for some shorts for you. But the box short list, is holding its own. I'm not seeing any real snapbacks on that list. So, other than some short-term snapbacks, but keep an eye on some of the more poorly performing stocks in that list for potentials down the road.